to Gina Probst, our new Deputy City Manager. Congratulations on your promotion. And then I'll be quick. I just want to share a personal update. Just want to say thank you to everyone who's reached out. My daughter was born July 10th. So thank you for everything. I don't like sharing personal updates. Yeah, she's beautiful and healthy, and we're so happy. And it's also a good reminder of how broken our childcare and healthcare system and parental leave system is in the United States. We're just kind of told to figure it out. And so many people go through that when they have a child. So that's it for me. Looking forward to a very productive day full of meetings, week full of meetings, and happy to be back.
Thank you. Councilmember Caballero.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good to be back with y'all. Really quickly, I'll say more of my comments this evening, but I do want to highlight two things. I will be adding a resolution asking to add as a supplemental item and a resolution to our August 7th work session as a first read. So I will be sending that each of you that. It's a Fourth Amendment workplace resolution being brought forward by Siembra, Durham, CAN, UE 150, and I think the Workers' Rights Commission. So I just wanted to flag that, and so folks weren't caught off guard. If council is amenable, I know we need to agree to that. And then secondly, several of us went up to Chicago for local progress this summer. It is always reinvigorating because you are with local electeds from across the country at school board level, county level, town and city council. And so you get to hear the dynamic work that's being done at the local level across the country. This year, I lived in Chicago for a number of years. We did a neighborhood tour. In fact, I was around the corner from my old apartment. And the shirt I'm wearing is for their housing co-op that has been established in Pilsen as a means to fight displacement and gentrification. Pilsen is a hotbed of gentrification. It is historically was the third largest Mexican-American community in the United States, and has faced a lot of challenges. So just want to highlight that the work that they're doing there in that neighborhood to stabilize it is pretty incredible. And the housing co-op that's been formed in, I think, the last 20 years is a potentially good example of what we can do here to stabilize neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Thank you, and happy Black August. I would like to congratulate Councilmember Baker again and again. It's really a joy. And then also just to Councilmember Caballero's comment about local progress, it is really a great opportunity to connect at the local level. And I did want to share that I was able to support rather than host a number of meetings over the summer, and hopes of trying to bring us together around some of the angst in the community with the proposed rezoning for Lakewood Avenue. And so I do hope to give a longer format of update later on this evening. I need a little bit more time to just digest it all together.
Trust me, I know.
But yes, we are here, and just a key, knowing this with all of the flooding experience with Tropical Storm Chantel. I do want to just make sure that folks are aware that the response center is open and available, and then also just appreciate all the staff that's been on the front line of trying to make sure that folks have what they need regarding that, and then knowing that that we all have experienced different things. I just want to send a kind of woosah to everyone around council and in the community, knowing that things are going to probably heat up even more than it has. And so just continue to be as vigilant as you have been, and continue to keep raising your voices. I want to appreciate folks rallying to make sure that we know that democracy is democracy, and just say thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Councilmember Rist.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. Happy August. Also Black Business Month. Hope you all remember that during the month of August. I do also want to thank the staff for holding down things while we've been away on recess, some of us. I know that the floods it was early July. It was a big thing in Durham. I know the staff have been, in many different departments, have been work and respond and still responding on that. So thank you for your hard work on that. And I know will be further conversations about our resilience planning in Durham. We've got to get that right as these storms are more intense with global warming. There is a lot going on, as folks have referenced. The big budget bill did pass in Congress. I know there's going to be tremendous impacts, detrimental impacts for folks on SNAP and on Medicaid. So that's something we're going to be dealing with here at the local level and wrestling with how can we support folks. That's a really a tough blow for a lot of families who rely on those benefits. I do want to thank, as Councilmember Freeman said, folks who've been out in the streets protesting, using their First Amendment rights to express their opinions about the impacts that bill will have on so many folks in this country. So thank you all for getting out and sharing your opinion on that. I do also want to say, we've also not only been on recess, but also doing a little bit of work. I got invited to be part of a benefits access coalition that's now working in Durham to think about ways we can make sure that folks in Durham have access to the benefits they qualify for. I'll be on the subcommittee on tax policy, which is essentially making sure that folks in Durham who qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit file taxes and make sure they claim that credit, which is a powerful way to make sure many families, it's our biggest anti-poverty tool, to make sure families in Durham do file their taxes and claim those tax credits that they deserve to help boost their income. So that's important work you'll be hearing about in the days and months to come. Finally, I do want to express my condolences to Mayor Pro Tem Mark Anthony Middleton on the death of your nephew. It was a deep hurt in your family, and so our thoughts are with you. I also want to note there was another not tragic, but death of an important Durham resident and leader, Tom Krakauer, who came here many years ago to actually create the Museum of Life and Science into what it is. Passed away a few weeks ago. I was at his service at Crowsdale, where my mom lives. He was a tremendous influence on this community, again, with the Museum of Life and Science. He also, as you may or may not know, was a leading force behind the Durham Museum of History. So Tom Krakauer played a huge role in this community. I know the county, through their bonds, have funded more of the work than the city has, but he's had a tremendous influence on the cultural and scientific and environmental climate in this community. So I want to express my tremendous respect and admiration for Tom Krakauer and all that he's meant for the city of Durham. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Your Honor. And to my honorable colleagues, it's really good to see you. Hopefully you had an opportunity to get some rest during the month of July. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, rather, to the staff and to those in chamber with us and those watching on whatever platform you may be watching. Let me add my word, Mr. Manager, of commendation to the staff in our absence. Not that you really need us for day-to-day operations, but for just the incredible machine that is Durham. We're constantly commended as one of the best-run cities in the country. For those of us that live here, sometimes we balk at that because we have our complaints, we have our list of things, but sometimes when you're so close to the thing, it's hard to appreciate it. But you should know that those who measure these things and study these things constantly refer to Durham as one of the best-run cities in this country, and we'll take it. So thank you, Mr. Manager, and thank you, staff. I know there were some challenging times with storms and gun violence in our city during the month of July, so it's good to be back at work with all of you colleagues. Let me thank you, Councilmember Riss, for your condolences, and to all of you, actually, my colleagues who have expressed condolences to my family, to the thousands of Durham residents that have sent messages of love and support. My nephew, Lloyd Edward Middleton, was a special young man. He suffered with a rare brain tumor, craniopharyngioma, which had long gone undiagnosed for some time, and it affected his intellectual and emotional development. So while he was 24 years old when he passed, emotionally, he was not 24 years old. So he was always little Lloyd to us. I want to thank the City of Durham Council. I want to thank you for funding programs like HEART. Little Lloyd oftentimes would have adventures, walkabouts in the City of Durham and would interact with the Durham Police Department. I got to know a lot of patrol officers who called me directly. I'm grateful to live in the city because Lloyd's story, had it been in a different city, could have been very different. We know in large, young Black men who have problems with processing orders, we've seen some of the tragic outcomes. I'm grateful to live in a city where our culture has a program like HEART, and Lloyd interacted with HEART many times. That's Durham. And I want to send my thanks, my profound gratitude to Hart, to the members of the Durham Police Department that interacted with him professionally and humanely. Before they knew who he was, he would drop Uncle Mark's name all the time, believe me. But before they realized who he was getting that treatment from them. That's important to point out. He showed up one time here at City Hall saying, "I'd like to speak to my Uncle Mark," at the front desk. So they're like, "Councilmember, this is some guy down here saying he's your nephew." He was my nephew. But the interactions, just loving, humane interactions, I think reflect who we are. We argue a lot in Durham, and we talk about a lot of things, but at bottom, in the final analysis, this is a great city with great people and great workers and great ambassadors for our brand. So I'm incredibly grateful to all of you and to this city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your attendance at the funeral yesterday, and your wife and Councilmember Freeman and her husband stopped by as well. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for a life that was short, but well-lived and impactful. And if you got a piece of his handmade artwork, you better hold on to it, because it'll probably be worth something someday. That's all I want to say. I just want to celebrate who we are as a people. Little Lloyd, I'll say this finally, from time to time would break out in song. He would ask people if I could pray for you. He would tell people that he would love them. He loves them, even in the most inappropriate context. Some would say inappropriate, but sometimes interruptions, unexpected interruptions, are good things. And I hope that all of you meet someone someday that treats you like Little Lloyd and sees you as Little Lloyd saw the world and saw other human beings. Thank you so much. God bless y'all. God bless Durham.
Thank you so much. I could not stop the tears from flowing yesterday because of the stories that were shared about Little Lloyd. And I remember getting a call one day from my restaurant. It said, someone called security and said, "There's a big black guy on campus just walking around talking to people, and it just looks suspicious." And my wife called me and said, "Hey, there's a really nice young man in the restaurant. He just wants some water and just talking to people." And my staff, they fell in love with him. And so he would go by the restaurant and just talk to my staff, and they would talk about Big Lloyd. They call him Big Lloyd. And we never knew who he was until I got the message that Mayor Pro Tem's nephew had passed away, and it was the same face. And so he had a positive impact on so many people. And speaking of heart, I'm a little hoarse, my voice, because I have been in the dry mountains for the last week, and I just got back just yesterday morning from Albuquerque, New Mexico, with Director of Community Safety Ryan Smith, and we were presenting on heart. And another emotional moment was to see how the nation reveres the work that we're doing here in Durham. So I know, staff, you all hear us saying thanks for holding it down while we were gone. We know you don't. We don't do day to day. So what we mean is we love being in this work with you, and it's just just being on that panel, that keynote panel with Director Smith, and just seeing all of these cities lean in and listen and say, "Wow, you figured it out. I want to be like Durham." It's because of situations like this. So when you hear someone say, "Let's expand heart," that's why they're saying it, because it's something that works. We figured it out. So Mayor Pro Tem, we stand with you and your family. And Councilmember Baker, welcome to the Dad Club. You became dad when you got married. But welcome. It is a very different approach to life. But you will enjoy it, and you'll probably ask the question, why didn't this happen earlier, with the love that it'll bring to you. So welcome. Colleagues, great to see you all again. This was a weird month. It felt like, it's like by title, council is on vacation. I think it was the furthest thing from vacation. There was a lot going on in the community, and my wife and I, we tried to take some time down, but it was just constantly present with everything that's going on. It's election season, so therefore it's a different dynamic throughout the community. But, you know, just with the natural disasters, for you all that are still wondering, we signed retroactively a state of disaster emergency, so we have those resources that are being coordinated right now. I've requested a presentation from city, county, and schools at the joint city-county meeting to provide an update on our coordinating services. And once we have that, I'll be asking the school board chair, the county chair, to join me and other members of our elected bodies to do a town hall with the residents in the affected areas. I went to Old Farm before leaving to go out town with Director Smith and helped a few folks move some things out of their house. It is a tragic situation. It's really bad, but I also want to thank staff for being boots on the ground, city leadership and others for walking the communities as well to find out what was most needed. And so there is a lot of coordination going on. I do know after speaking with the residents that we need to do a better job at communicating what's going on. So we'll continue to work on that, and I'll be Manager Ferguson and I'll be meeting today, and we'll talk about what that looks like and bring that back before the body. There are some resources that are coming from the federal level. I know it sounds confusing, and I'll project more accurate information on this hopefully by tonight at the meeting, but the SBA is the receiving organization or institution in the federal government that's receiving emergency applications for support. And I'll bring more information about that tonight as I get a little more detail. It was confusing even to me that the Small Business Administration is receiving emergency applications for residential matters. But this administration is, you know, a little different. So we'll get accurate information and provide that later today for residents as well. Colleagues, I'll give other announcements later tonight, but what's really important in regards to our work session is I will be, I'm currently working with Mayor Pro Tem. We've been meeting, we've met twice about this, Mayor Pro Tem, Chief of Staff Wallace, about our evaluation process to present something. Met with Councilmember Caballero today. If you haven't noticed, my plate is going to be a little full in the coming months. So as well as Mayor Pro Tem, I've asked, I'll be asking some of you all to do certain assignments, but we will be presenting soon a process of a suite of options for our evaluation process for staff, for Manager Ferguson, Attorney Rayberg, and Madam Clerk Schreiber. And it will be later to the three of you all. It will be a little later this year because I want to make sure we get it right. But it will be a formal process, and it's something that I hope that will, you know, it'll be appreciated, the approach that we'll have with it. So we're going to get it right this year, and I'll be bringing that process up. You'll probably hear from Councilmember Caballero on the just kind of operationalizing that for me, colleagues, and just know that's coming, and we'll be moving aggressively to present dates. But I am going to ask you now to make sure you just adhere to the dates coming from Kamala regarding getting our calendars aligned. This is one of our most important responsibilities as a council, and that we don't hand off to an employee to do for us. So we need to make sure that we are paying close attention to those dates. Looking to do this in early October. So we'll be presenting that pretty soon. So I'll be in touch with you today, Councilmember Caballero. I got you. Yeah, you'll be out of town. Cool. Second week of October. So just be on the lookout for that. There was a lot that happened this summer. Well, feels like the summer, but this month that I'll talk about more later today. But just wanted to put that on your radar. There will be a resolution. Wait, did you talk about the resolution? Okay. What she said about the resolution. Yeah, and we'll talk more later about other stuff. Thank you all for everyone who just kind of, I mean, I saw council members, I saw you guys just communicating and engaging with community members over the floods. We're going to talk more about that later today in our response, not only to the Old Farm community and Rippling Streams, but also the Northwood Madison area. Some of this has already been addressed, but we haven't really necessarily talked about it. I want to put this out there. It's going to be a part of my agenda later today, Mr. Ferguson. But our communications on, things that we've done and things that we're working on, and really highlighting what's, policies that have been passed in the budget. I've heard over the last month a lifetime of, you guys aren't doing anything or what's been done. And this council has done a lot, actually. And the city staff has done amazing work on so many things. And I think we need to project that more. So we're going to talk about that and how we deliver that information. I believe that's it for now. I'm going to pass it over. Councilmember stole a bit of your thunder. Councilmember Baker stole a bit of your thunder, but you have some announcements, and look forward to you bringing those up now.
Sure, Mayor.
Did you have a comment? Oh, okay.
With your consent, I'll proceed with priority items first and then announcements.
Yeah.
Great. So, Mayor and Council, great to be back with you. Excited to get back to work. And the City Manager's Office does have 2 priority items this morning. First, for agenda item number 8, that's the resolution to support the Upper Neuse River Basin Association UNRPA FY 2026 budget. That item does have a staff presentation scheduled for this morning. Then for agenda item number 20, which is the First Amendment to contract with Application Software Technology LLC for next generation ERP implementation, this item is being referred back to the Technology Solutions Department. Those are my priority items, Mayor, but with your consent, I'd like to make a few announcements this morning, maybe more than normal, but thank you. So first and foremost, I want to thank the council for acknowledging staff in their efforts over the last month. The council perhaps framed that as if they've been away and we've been working. My observation is that that is not accurate. I've seen a great deal of action from the part of the council. So while we haven't been into this room, I can assure the public that through the storms and through a number of other items through July, the members of the City Council have been engaging with staff on important issues around the city and continuing to do their work as public servants and representing the residents of Durham. I thank you for your partnership over the last month. In particular, I want to add the administration's heartfelt condolences and pledge of support to the residents impacted by the floods around Tropical Storm Chantal and the storms that came after. Certainly, I am proud of a lot of the work that the city has done, but that doesn't take away from the tremendous impacts those residents have received. And I'll just pledge our ongoing support in all the recovery efforts and look forward to future conversations with the council about how we can do that and do it better. While I'm very proud of the work that was done, I will also say that after any event like this, there are always lessons to be learned, things to do better. There's a city-county after action scheduled for this week. That is a standard practice that we do after storms after any major event. And having attended those in the past, I can assure the council that no one approaches those with any defensiveness. It's an opportunity to learn and improve. And so I encourage the council to share concerns that you've received. It is a very complicated matter. There are responsibilities that the federal government carries, that the state carries, that the county carries. We jointly lead the city-county emergency management department, and then we obviously have a number of departments in the city that respond directly. That can be understandably confusing for residents who are not clear on who does what, and it's our imperative to try and make sure we do the best we can to explain how to help people and to, more importantly, to get that help to them. So continue to pledge our support to that and look forward to getting any additional feedback from the council about how we can improve that and continue to serve those residents. I want to add the administration's congratulations to Councilmember Baker on the birth of his daughter and our condolences to the Mayor Pro Tem on the passing in his family. I've been keeping you all in our thoughts over the last month as those events, both joyous and sad, have affected your lives. Then it is with some excitement that I want to name a number of staffing announcements that have impacted the city, all for the better. And these have been in the works for some time. And I'm glad that we're now in our first council meeting where we can describe some of those to you. First, I'm going to ask our new Office of Economic and Workforce Development Director, Joshua Gunn, to come to the podium for a quick introduction. I will preview for the council that Joshua will be coming back hopefully in the next couple of months for a broader introduction and discussion of the work plan, but I am extremely excited to welcome Joshua to the City of Durham family. I am certainly one of the last to welcome him to the City of Durham, where he has been nearly a lifelong resident, but can be one of the first to formally welcome him in his role. I am excited for the future of economic development under Joshua's leadership and under the leadership of this council. And I just wanted to ask him to give a few words of introduction this morning and make sure you guys could put the face with the name and that the community could do so as well, although again, his face is not new to many of you. So Joshua, welcome again, and if you could just introduce yourself a little bit for the council.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Manager. Good morning. How we doing?
Good.
It's good to see y'all. Good to be back in Durham. Man, it's just so good to be home. Grateful to Manager Ferguson and the entire DCM Deputy City Manager executive team for ushering me through this process. Particular Deputy City Manager Chadwell who is my Deputy City Manager over at OEWD, for kind of walking me through all the challenges and opportunities that exist in our department and helping usher me into what is certainly not a new home, but very new life as a government employee, right? And so I'm very excited to be here. There is so much to love about Durham. One of the things that makes me really excited is the warmth in this city. And I don't mean the 100 degrees and humidity that welcomed me when I landed from Arizona, but really the genuine warmth of you all, the people of Durham, which reminds me of why I love this place so much. So thank you. And I just say you all, but I'm back home now, so I can say y'all again in my meeting. So I also appreciate being able to do that. You all know that the Office of Economic and Workforce Development is a big driver for revenue for this city and opportunity for the people of Durham. I'm in week 3, so making lots of observations and assessments about where we take our work. But one thing that I want to just emphasize this morning is the power in the model of economic and workforce development being in one department. There are many cities across the country, and I've had the opportunity now to work in a couple of them outside of North Carolina, where those two things are separate, where economic development is its own piece and workforce development is its own piece. And I think the beauty of having them together is that you, and I oversimplify just for a bit, but you have the employers, the people with the jobs, connecting to the people who are training folks who need the jobs, and they're talking to each other and they're working together, and you're able to create innovative solutions that way and not duplicate efforts. And so I think economic and workforce development being together is just another example of how Durham's government is making moves the right way, and I'm excited to harness the power of that model. One of the things that is also readily apparent to me that I want to acknowledge this morning is the need for breaking down silos. So one of the things I loved about Durham before I left is that you can go to any coffee shop or any, if you're going to go after hours to any bar, and you would see county folks, city folks, chamber folks, private sector, public sector, working together, brainstorming, collaborating, thinking about ways we can make this city better. And so I'm excited for the Office of Economic and Workforce Development to be that conduit for that type of collaboration once again, as it has been historically. And so you can look for me to be reaching out. I've got quite an intense orientation calendar that the city has put together. So for those of you who I know well, sorry we haven't connected yet when I've been back, please don't beat me up for it. The city has got me doing quite a bit. And those of you I don't know very well, I look forward to meeting with you as well to talk about how this collaboration can produce some results for the people of our city. So I'm very excited to be here. Thanks for having me, and let's get to work.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn.
Thank you.
I know I fall into the same trap as many of us do in talking about Joshua's long Durham history. But as we highlighted in the press release that went out when we announced his hiring, Joshua has had a distinguished and active career in economic development, helped a number of communities through some very difficult economic transitions, and has proven himself nationally as a leader in this space. So we are both fortunate to have someone with so much deep knowledge of Durham, but also someone who has shown themselves to be such a tremendous and energetic leader nationally. I am really excited for the future of this work in Durham, and I know the council is excited to have more conversations with Mr. Gunn about our work program and how that proceeds. Next, I am extremely excited to introduce someone else who doesn't need much of an introduction, but who is certainly filling a new role for the city, and one that I think, again, will just be a tremendous team player in helping us advance our work as we continue to improve Durham. I'd like Gina Probst to come to the podium so that we can introduce her as Durham's next Deputy City Manager. Gina, as you know, has had a long career with the city of increasing responsibility, and absolutely convinced the selection panel and myself that she was the perfect person to add to our office to help lead this work. So I've asked Gina to reintroduce herself briefly this morning, and I know, Council, you will have many more opportunities to interact directly with Gina, but wanted to congratulate Gina and thank her and introduce her again.
Well, thank you, Manager Ferguson, and good morning, Mayor Williams, Mayor Pro Tem Middleton, and members of council. Just want to say I'm honored and thankful for the opportunity to continue serving the city in a new way. For 20 years, I've been fortunate to work in the General Services Department, where I gained a deep appreciation for the people and the work that keep Durham running every day. That experience reinforced for me how important our city staff are to the quality of life in this community. I have deep respect for all city staff that work to provide quality public service every day with the goal of contributing to the public good. I'm also very excited to be part of the city manager's team, working with a dedicated team that pushes and leads with passion, as well as working with all city leadership and staff to advance and support the policies and direction of this dedicated and also passionate council. I recently listened to a podcast that was highlighting how North Carolina local government and how people found themselves in local government. And they discussed that some people purposefully find that as their calling, and the majority of people stumble into it. Prior to joining the city, I had a different career, and it was one that I purposely pursued, and I consider it to be a noble profession. However, I was fortunate 20 years ago to stumble into local government. It's been the most challenging, rewarding, and fulfilling stumble of my life. I'm incredibly grateful for this opportunity, and most likely will stumble again, but know that I'm fully committed to the work and the values of the city and what's ahead, and that sometimes good things can come from a stumble. Thank you.
It would be difficult for Gina to surprise us with her work ethic, but I will say that even I have been surprised that since accepting the position, I think there were maybe 8 or 9 days between when she accepted it and when she had moved into her office and began work, and has been tireless over the last few weeks getting up to speed in her new responsibilities. Gina also continues to serve as the Acting Director of General Services. So several people along that dais over there are wearing 2 hats right now, and we are working pretty quickly to segregate those responsibilities back and have formal directors. But I'd like to thank Gina, as well as Bertha and Carmisha, who are all acting department directors right now, as well as serving their roles in the manager's office. One last comment on Gina, and Gina, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but that stumble into local government is not only playing out as in Gina's public service, but Gina's daughter was recently named a Lead for North Carolina Fellow, and Gina spent the weekend moving her daughter into Elizabeth City, where she has been placed as a Lead for North Carolina Fellow. So it runs in the family. We're excited to see what the Probst family has for local governments in North Carolina. One last staff announcement, and then—
Mr. Manager, actually, can you just also confirm, I assume it's similar to your portfolio, but can you confirm the portfolio that Deputy City Manager Probst will now be overseeing?
I'm going to have Gina confirm that, because I'm likely to get it wrong.
So it's the portfolio that gets stuff done. And
Like it.
I'll do respect. The Department of Planning and Development, the newly named Building and Safety Department, the newly named Environmental and Street Services Department, Water Management, Fleet Management, General Services, And transportation. Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. You got it right. That was a test. I do have one last staff announcement. I'd like to let everyone know that someone we've all worked closely with for a long time is serving in a new temporary capacity. I'd like to thank Amy Blaylock for serving as our interim communications director. Much like the two individuals I've just named before, Amy has been tirelessly working since the retirement of her predecessor, Beverly Thompson. And in just a moment, I'm going to highlight some of Amy's great work in announcing some changes to council chambers and this room. But in addition to that, Amy has just hit the ground running and kept our communications department going full steam, which through the reorganization, through the tropical storms, has certainly been a full plate, more than a full plate over July. And I want to thank Amy publicly and continue to commend her work as our acting director. Thank you, Amy. All right, getting close to the end. I am excited to announce some changes that council and the public will encounter as we start back in our meeting schedule. As a result of some significant work that happened over the break, and it will impact our work in this room, our work in the council chambers, and our overflow space. So let me just.
Oh, you mean the like studio that we're recording a song in the lobby?
That is the one, as well as this.
That's a lot.
I'll get there. Give me a sec. So first, as a result of complete replacement of all of our back-end equipment that televises our council meetings. For the first time, this meeting and all future committee room work sessions are being televised live on the Durham Television Network, and we're excited for that change. Prior, we have been live on social media, but have not been able to be on Durham's television stations. So that change is now underway, and this meeting is being televised as a result of those changes. But you will see much more significant changes when you get down to the council chambers this evening, and actually I believe the clerk would like you to come down right after this work session for a brief training. And so I'd like to just briefly summarize some of the upgrades that you will see in that room. We have, again, had a complete overhaul of the back-end equipment. Some of the reliability issues obviously are now behind us. That equipment was beyond its useful life, so I know council has endured and the public has endured some technological failures that were beyond our control, but I'm glad to say those should be in the past. Along with those, we have all new cameras. We have replaced all the monitors and upgraded the monitors around the room. There are new locations of monitors within the room. We have a new podium that is now ADA compliant. The podium for where the public comes to speak is adjustable and has new technology as well. You will see new technology at the dais, including new microphones and new voting equipment. And, well, let's see. I think, did I forget anything, Amy? Is that the highlight? I think those are the highlights for in the chambers. So we're excited. I think that's going to greatly enhance the in-room experience. There are new speakers for council and throughout the room, so that I do believe you'll be able to hear the public, especially people who participate via Zoom. We expect that to be a much more clear experience for you. And then finally, what you see in the lobby today is a temporary effort to improve the experience for our overflow crowd. We understand that at some of the last meetings of last fiscal year, some of the crowd who used the overflow seating had some concerns about audio, their ability to hear. So there are a couple of things that we have done temporarily. First is some sound deadening, and those are those large walls that you see, new seats, and also new speakers. That is a temporary measure while we plan some more permanent improvements to that space. But I want to strongly thank and appreciate the work of the communications department and their partners throughout the city. It was a very short time frame from your last meeting to now to get all that work done. It has been completed, and we're excited for tonight. The one caveat I will say is it has been thoroughly tested and everything's working, but today is obviously our first run through, so be patient if we have a little hiccup here or there, but I am excited for the new experience that you will have and the public will have. So finally, with that, thank you for tolerating all my extra announcements this morning, Mayor. We're excited to be back to work, and those are my priority items.
Is the coffee maker still there?
I do not believe we removed the coffee maker.
All right. Well, this is great. And hello to everyone that may be watching on TV for the first time during a work session. All right, those were your priority items. I just have one card here. No, I have two.
Attorney and clerk.
Oh, yes, that's right. All right, no neglect, I'm sorry. Madam Attorney.
No worries, Mr. Mayor. In the interest of all of the work that needs to get done today, I have no priority items for you.
Right on. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I have just very brief items. The first is, of course, we would like to invite the council downstairs to the chamber for a brief training on the voting system. And I do have the nominations for the boards, committees, and commission report. The Mayor's Committee for Persons with Disability appointments. The individuals nominated for that board are Ingrid Casterlow, Marge Clemens, Daniel Ellison, Hillary Ensminger, Phyllis C. Florney, Vilu Caricetti.
We can pull it. We can just pull it.
I'm sorry. I'll continue with the nominations. Jackie F. Pilgrim, Patricia C. Sparrow, Gloria D. Whitehead, Michael T. Wilson, and Pearlie L. Yelverton. The next committee appointment nomination is Reeve Ems for the Durham Performing Arts Center Oversight Committee. And then the last board is the Recreation Advisory Commission. We do have some discussion that needs to take place on this board, and so there's been a request that this be put on GBA. Did you want to go over the nominations now, or did you want to discuss later?
We'll just put it on GBA.
Okay. All right, and that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. And before I get into the administrative consent items, since I have so few speakers, I'll go ahead and address those now. And online, where is it? Oh, yeah. I have one speaker, Jacqueline Wagstaff with the Citizens Matter. Ms. Wagstaff, can you hear me? Does anyone see her online? You'll see me drinking a lot of water. I was out there in the desert with
Hello?
Mr. Smith. It was really dry. So we're coming back. Can you hear me? Hello? Yes. Welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Okay. I come to you today out of concern about some previous statements that have been made by said person that is leading this meeting. And I really feel like the community deserves better than what we've been hearing over the past couple of weeks. And I also have a problem with the fact that just recently, last month, you had an event where you actually made comments about a mother and son. I don't know if it was reference to me, but you made a comment about mother and son that was stalking you and that you had to move in protective housing. You had to leave your previous address. That is one of the things that I was complaining about when you were a council member, that I didn't believe you were living in your actual ward. So I put a petition in with the Board of Election to challenge your residency. But it is clear now that you probably weren't living in your ward, because you made this statement, and it's on video, that you moved in protective housing. I also would like to know, I didn't know we had protective housing in Durham, but if we do, I need you to share that information with the public, because there are a lot of people in Durham, especially in McDougal Terrace, Cornwallis, Oxford Manor, that would benefit from this protective housing because they live in a war zone on a daily basis. So these are some of my concerns about the action of the person that is leading this group today. And I have some other concerns, but I'm not going to elaborate on those right now. I'll deal with that later. But I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Wagstaff. Many of these situations that you've referenced have been publicly documented, as well as my apartment complex, stating your presence there. But if you'd like to take this matter up again personally, then you're welcome to do so. I would not address that in a council meeting. You have your prerogative to do as such. Thank you. Moving on. All right, in person. I have Julie Messina. Welcome. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, yeah, that on the right.
Lovely. Can you hear me now?
There you go.
Great. Mayor Pro Tem, City Manager, City Councilors, thank you very much for an opportunity to speak with you today. I come to you as, so I'm Julie Messina. I am the founder and one of the event directors of Durham NC Park Run. I'll tell you about that in just a second, but I'd also like to take an opportunity to just give thanks to the other event directors, Bill Harris of Pittsburgh and Heiko Rath of Durham, who's also a Durham City Council employee. I come here today with no ask and no demands, simply to share with you almost as an emissary, a part of Durham that you might not get to see every day, but this is a celebration of one of those corners of just wonderfulness happening in Durham. So I offer you a view of 12 years of Saturdays at Southern Boundaries Park. So Park Run is a free weekly timed 5K. This doesn't hint, however, at the ethos behind Park Run. Park Run was founded approximately 20 years ago by a man in the outer skirts of London named Paul. Paul was a runner who wasn't running at the time. Paul was pretty depressed. Any of you who are regular fitness buffs, you know when you're laid up and you can't move, that's a tough blow. Paul, however, he was able to pull himself out of it, and he gathered 11 of his friends, and he said, I tell you what, I will create a 5K course for you, but in exchange, and I'll time you, but afterwards you have to join me for coffee. So he bribed them. It worked. 20 years later, there are now 11 million people worldwide who have registered to go and do one of these free weekly timed 5Ks. They're all over the world. There's still currently about 100 here in the United States, with Durham being the third oldest. So our numbers, we've had 564 events, 564 Saturdays where volunteers and runners have shown up to participate in this free event. We now average 88 finishers on any given Saturday morning. There are 4,376 unique finishers, and this includes many tourists from abroad who come specifically to Durham because they want to participate in a local 5K at Park Run. We've had 26,803 total finishers with 293 volunteers and an average time of 31 minutes and 20 seconds. We have people that run as fast as 16 minutes in a 5K. We've also had people who have taken as long as an hour and 25 minutes, including a stroke survivor. Park Run is truly for everyone. It's for families. We've also worked with Black Men Run, Black Girls Run, homeschool cross-country teams, churches. Cary, Apex, Wake Forest, and Raleigh, they don't have one. They have to come to Durham. Thank you for creating spaces for us where we can have this fun event every single week and bring families together in celebration.
Thank you so much. Could you also send me information on that? Love to kind of know more beyond the comments. Sounds cool. And I love to brag, been with the third oldest. That's pretty cool. All right. Those are all of my public comments. I will now go to my agenda here to read consent agenda. However, I will say, Madam Clerk, I have signups for items 27 and 29, but my agenda is not showing.
Those are public hearing items.
Those are public hearings for tonight, right? Okay, so I guess it may have merged. Okay, all right. I just needed to know if I needed to skip those or not. All right. I'll now read the consent agenda. Item number 1, Recreation Advisory Council, Commission, mayoral appointment. Number 2, Participatory Budgeting Steering Committee appointment. Number 3, Boards, Committees, Commissions, Task Force, fiscal year 2024-2025, annual attendance report. This is the report. You want to pull this one, or you want to pull the appointment or the report? Okay, gotcha. Recreation. So that's number 1. That's the one we were putting on GBA already. Item number 3. Okay, got you.
Are you on the right agenda, Mayor?
Wait a minute.
Make sure you're on the 8-4 work session.
Oh, I'm on August 7th. I'm sorry, guys. Here we go. That makes total sense. Okay, scratch everything I just put on the record, on the consent agenda. All right, this makes sense now. Gotcha. They're really close together, so I was confused. Here we go. Item number 1, starting over, Mayor's Committee for Persons with Disabilities appointment. Item number 2, Durham Performing Arts Center Oversight Committee appointment. Number 3, Recreation Advisory Commission appointments. That's GBA. Number 4, approval of city council minutes. Number 5, Durham Parks and Recreation Department Revenue Performance Audit, June 2025. And number 6, Neighborhood Improvement Services, NIS, Human Relations Division, Effectiveness of Case Investigations Performance Audit, June 2025.
Could I pull that?
You writing this down? No, sir. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, number 7, contract renewal for fiscal year 2026, City of Durham Domestic Balance and Gang Balance Reduction Agreement with North Carolina Administrative Office of the Courts. Number 7. Number 7. All right. Number 8, resolution to support the Upper Neuse River Basin Association, UNRPA, fiscal year 2026 budget. That is a presentation. Number 9, West Woodridge Drive infrastructure repairs. Number 10, contract with Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated for water quality pollutant source tracking and UT to Rock Creek and Stirrup Iron Creek.
Pull that one.
Number 10. All right, number 11, contract for print and mail services for the City of Durham with InfoSend Incorporated. Number 12, developer request for permanent stormwater outfall easements at 1145 West Forest Hills Boulevard. Number 13, lease of North Carolina Department of Transportation property for the American Tobacco Trail. Number 14, third amendment to contract between the City of Durham and Cornerstone On Demand Incorporated for Cornerstone Learning Management SaaS services. Number 15, contract with TrueView BSI LLC for pre-employment background screening services. Number 16, U.S. Department of Labor PY fiscal year 2023-2025 grant project ordinance for ARPA reentry supportive funds for Fierce Fellows. Number 17, contract for the administration of Phase 2 of the Durham Small Business Opportunity Fund.
Pull that one.
Number 18, athletic booking agent contract. Number 19, contract with National Testing Network Incorporated for promotional testing and assessment services. Number 20, First Amendment to contract with Applications Software Technology LLC for next generation ERP implementation.
That was referred back to staff.
That was referred back to staff. Number 21, contract with We Drive You Incorporated for mobility broker and operations of the Go Durham Access On-Demand Services.
Pull that one.
Number 21 is pulled. Number 22, amendment number 6 with Turner and Townsend Harry LLC contract number 13441 for program management of the Water Management Facility Expansion Project. Number 23, award of bid term contract for bulk water treatment plant chemicals to Cars LLC. Number 24, professional services contract with Freeze and Nichols Incorporated for the 2026 lift station upgrades project. And of course, we have our public hearings for tonight. Number 25, Cliff Street partial street closing. Number 26, zoning map change 401 East Lakewood Avenue. Number 27, zoning map change Durham Rescue Mission East Main Street. Number 28, revisions to Durham City Code regarding stormwater facility replacement fund and perpetual surety requirements. Number 29, public hearing and approval of the draft 5-year 2025 through 2029 consolidated plan, 2025 annual action plan, and citizens participation plan. That is our consent agenda with items pulled number 6, 7, 10, 17, and 21.
And item 8 is a presentation.
And item 8, UNRPA, is a presentation. All right, so we'll start at the top. Number 6, Neighborhood Improvement Services, Human Relations Division. Number 6 pulled by Councilmember Caballero. Go ahead. Let's take a moment. Thank you all for being here.
Good morning, Jermaine Brewington, Director of Audit Services. Welcome back, Council. Mayor Williams, Mayor Pro Tem Middleton, Council members.
Thank you.
Good morning, thank you. The audit service showed kind of a very long delay in the closing of cases, and I know that we're in the middle of a department transition, so I just was wondering when council could expect kind of an update around that. And I know we do these audits periodically, but I know there's a lot of transition in these departments. It might not be a question for you, it might be a question, but just looking at it said prolonged periods of inactivity within investigations undermines the effectiveness and credibility of the city's fair housing enforcement efforts. And so I just was curious about what's the plan to respond to that. And I understand that's not necessarily audit services, but would just love to hear any conversations y'all had and what we can expect as a council.
So the department has put a plan in place. Here. Hi there. I am going to step aside and let Alexis John Audit.
Good morning. Carmisha Wallace, Assistant City Manager. So on behalf of the Housing and Neighborhood Services Department, I've been working with Alexis John, who's joined here with me this morning. Alexis has been an Assistant Director in what was Neighborhood Improvement Services, along with Philip Jordan, who's the manager of the Human Relations team. So we are actually developing the strategy for moving that work forward. Don't have a date yet for coming back to council, but that is something that's certainly on our radar for resolution.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. I figured that we were in transition. I just want to highlight that it would be good as a council to get something sooner than later, so that we are, we all know that even though we're in a brand new fiscal year, the work for the next year begins soon. Yep. And so if there's budgetary considerations because of, just moving forward that we have to think about because of plans or ideas that y'all are brainstorming, I would rather get it on the earlier end than on the later end. So that's all.
I will say that they have made some internal staff and realignments within the department already with the staff that's already in place. So we're already making some efforts to move the needle on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. Councilmember Baker, number 7.
So, yeah, simple question. Can you just give us a little context and origin of these contracts?
Sure.
And thank you for being here.
Yes. Good morning, Ryan Smith, Director of Community Safety. Also, our district attorney is available online to answer additional questions. Just a little bit of background. So the city's work in this area in this contract precedes the existence of my department. A little bit of history on why this contract came about. So the number of assistant ADs that are in our district attorney's office is state funded and set by statute. The 19 ADAs that they have had hasn't increased since 1999 state budget, whereas in other jurisdictions across the state it has. Prior to the existence of my department, the city made, with the request of the district attorney who is here, to help augment and increase the capacity in their department. The Durham County also provides additional staff. And the district attorney is here to answer additional questions, but that's the high-level history. Any additional questions?
No, that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, could we get some information about cases over, like what cases tied to these positions over the last few years and currently? Because I know this is a renewing contract. It's not the first time this has come up, but I would love to get some data on what's the caseload for these attorneys, what's the conclusion of those cases. That would be helpful.
Great. Just one question. Madam DA, I believe you're available. I don't know if there's anything you could share now, but we can also certainly work to get that data back to council.
Sure. What I can tell council, good morning, Councilmember Caballero, and congratulations, Councilman Baker, on the new addition to your family. There's been a new baby in my family, and so I know you're tired. These positions are essentially run our district court. They handle all misdemeanor domestic violence cases in Durham County. They also support juvenile court, which is where most of our gang-related issues are these days. And so since we have moved to the new electronic court system, we do not have access to as much data as we used to have with our new system because they have been implementing it statewide. But I can tell you that these folks are in court every day here in Durham County handling literally every case that comes through district court.
Thank you. And I appreciate, I know that the transition to the digital interface in courts has not been, let's just say it's been very difficult. So if at some point down the road that type of data is more readily available, I would love to see, it's always helpful to see the impact of city dollars. When folks say, what are we doing around crime, right? What are we doing to support community? This is one of the things the city has pledged support in, and so it's always great to see what the outcome and impact is. Thank you. That's all.
Absolutely.
Any other comments? Go ahead. Councilmember. Oh, your mic is on. And I don't really have a question, but it's great to see you, Madam DA. I have personal experience of the request of more resources from the state to the Durham DA's office, and that has been very hard to come by. So I'm glad that we are being able to continue to work together. One of the things you'll hear me talking about a lot more this year is not only data sharing, but more collaborative work together across the spectrum from the county to the DA's office to courts to schools, as well as the city. So I hope that we will be able to expand on this work. I won't go into detail about some other relations that we're looking to work on about restorative justice, but I'm looking forward to talking about that further with your office regarding the situation with the street takeovers or whatever. But this more collaborative work we're doing together is something that I think we need to really praise as we continue to codify it. But I'm looking forward to being able to support providing more resources. It's amazing. Other DA offices can get more, but Durham is just stagnant. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Smith. Do you have your voice? Are you good?
I'm good. Yeah, I drank a lot of water though, I guess. So anyway,
Yeah.
Good to see you again. Thank you all.
You too. Thank you all. Madam DA, I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's next? Number 10. All right, item number 10, Councilmember Rist.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning. I am J.V. LaProfita with Environmental and Street Services Department, and happy to answer any questions, Resource Manager on this, on this project.
Great to see you, JV. Actually, I don't have any questions. I just want to appreciate staff on this one. I know folks in Durham care a lot about water, safe, clean, affordable drinking water. I know we debate water a lot on this council, and I just want to appreciate staff. I know that I follow the State of the Streams reports you put out every year, and I know that Stirrup Iron Creek is our, and I want to make sure the council and the community is aware, this is our most distressed stream, right? Again, we talk a lot about streams and development cases, but this is a stream that gets the lowest scores in all of Durham. So I would appreciate staff for using the data to drive your effort and your investment in cleaning up streams and our water quality in Durham. So I just want to thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much, Councilmember Rist. Yeah, the 2 streams in this project are, as Councilmember Rist said, streams that have some pollution issues. So we're looking forward to tackle them in this project.
So for the stream reports, what year are they carrying from, and will they be updated based on the newer storm kind of overflow and runoff that is occurring?
Yep, good question. So the department releases state of the streams reports that are available on the city's webpage, and those are updated every year. So the latest state of our streams report that's on the website is from monitoring collected in 2024. And so we'll need to go through 2025 here, collect samples through December, and at that point, we'll start analyzing the data and get the 2025 State of the Streams report posted on our city's website, hopefully around mid-year of 2026. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that does. And are there any protocols if you identify a stream during the year that folks should not have their dogs or children near? Just making sure that kind of that people are aware of where to find that information.
Mm-hmm. So this, like I said, the State of the Streams reports are available on the city's websites. Our group is not delegated the authority to make public health related decisions. So that is really in the purview of county public health.
And that would be on the county side that they would have that information?
I'm not sure about the postings on the county website.
Okay, I'll follow up. Thank you.
Thanks for being here and for all of your work. Just regarding the stream that is running through Burton Park, that's one where we know the origin of the pollutants, and we're expending public resources. And I know that this is one, Mr. Manager, that you've emailed us about, and it's working its way through NCDEQ. Is there any recourse here, and is there any way of recuperating public dollars that are expended? Because we know the origin, and we know that it's from a private landowner that's emitting these toxins into the stream. That the public, it's now fenced off. It's an environmental justice issue. Is that something that we're going to be looking into, and that's part of this process?
Thank you very much for your question. I'm going to hand that off to my supervisor, Michelle Wofolk, to talk about that issue.
Good morning, Michelle Wofolk, also with Environmental and Street Services. So we have talked with the manager's office, actually, with our former DCM, Bertha Winbush, about recovering money. And at this time, we haven't pursued it yet, but there are actually a couple of different avenues we can use to recover money that we've spent. So that's something that we'll keep looking at.
Okay, thank you. That's it for me.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up is item number 17. Was that you, Councilmember Rist?
Good morning. I'm Ed Nixon from the Office of Economic and Workforce Development.
Hey, Mr. Nixon, good morning. Thanks for being here. Love this work's going forward on Small Business Opportunity Fund. We talk a lot here in Durham about the importance of small businesses, so this is important work. And I appreciate the contract before us. My only question on this one is, I know there were some, let me pull this up real quick. The contract includes a number of key performance metrics that'll be tracked and reported by, I guess, by the contractor. Things like number of loan applications, number of loans and investments, total number of loans paid off successfully, capital deployed, total number of loan defaults and so forth, total TA hours to businesses. What's missing for me is some kind of goal here. What's the goal? I know they're going to report on those metrics, but what's missing for me is some sense of what are the goals? How do we know that this contract has been successful at the end when we're evaluating that? So we'd love to have a little bit more in terms of not only, again, not what we're tracking, but also like what we're trying to accomplish here.
As with the previous loan, the primary objective is access to capital. We're also looking at access to capital for the businesses, but we're also looking at jobs created, jobs retained, and obviously we want to try to collect as many success stories as we can of businesses that have used the money and the results of that, as well as perhaps using this as a model for ongoing access to capital endeavors.
Yeah, no, and all those are really important objectives. What I'm saying is what's missing for me is some sense of like, are we trying to reach 100 businesses, 200 businesses, like some kind of targets there that the KPIs will then help us to sort of to understand if we've achieved the goals there. But again, important work. This is critical to Durham and our small business community. What's missing for me again, I might want to refer this back to staff, is to get a sense of like, what's our goal?
So right now, there's an estimated 18 or 40 businesses that can be served. Each business can get up to $75,000. So it depends on how much each business borrows. But right now, the target is 18 or 40 businesses we hope to be able to serve with the fund.
Right, and that's just one of the KPIs, right?
Yeah. Let me bring in Kevin Dick. He's from Carolina Small Business Development Fund. He can probably provide a little more specifics as well.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. Kevin Dick with the Carolina Small Business Development Fund. Thank you for this opportunity or potential opportunity to administer Phase 2 of the Durham Small Business Opportunity Fund. Councilmember Rist, in response to your question, as Ed stated, the number of loan recipients there'll be a range depending upon the number of really the amounts of loans that they apply for. As Ed stated, the range is between $25,000 and $75,000. The guarantee level's up to 30% of that, right? But there's also a component for earlier stage businesses relative to grant making. And so what we've provided and allocated in the contract budget is money for small business tools, such as QuickBooks licenses, small business operational tools that are really germane to businesses in their very early stages. And then for that component, we hope to serve up to 50 businesses. So 50 early stage businesses. And then again, with the loan recipients, it would be a range depending upon the number of guarantees granted.
So again, so you're saying for the early stage support, that's the grants.
Correct.
The goal is at least 50 businesses.
And and grants, let me cast the word grants. It's really, I would say, free tools that we are providing to small businesses, as opposed to, grants, which would have that would have an implication relative to the state constitution on emoluments. So it's more small business tools that we're providing to businesses.
So again, for 50 early stage businesses.
Early stage businesses,
and
right.
then for the loan guarantee, how many businesses?
It really depends upon how many guarantees, but we would estimate, somewhere up to 40.
Can we add this into the contract? It would just be good to have this sort of documented, so when we're at the end of the grant, we can see whether we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. So that's what I'm struggling with.
Is your question like a statement to say the Durham City Council has supported X amount of business in achieving?
Yeah, we get a lot of contracts where there's sort of like, it's like goals identified. What's the goals for this contract? So again, I appreciate the tracking the KPIs, but for me, what's missing is like, what are we on the front end? How many businesses, how many how many loans, what's the number we're trying to achieve?
Okay, 1 second. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just want to state that is actually in the document, it's in the memo.
If you can show me that.
It's on page 2. So under number 1, capital CSBD, A and B are listed. And I want to be really cognizant that this is coming out of COVID and making loan funds available. I don't want to delay that at all. I do want to make sure that the fund, that because it's being cognizant that some folks may need 18,000, some may need 40,000. I don't want to limit that number. And so if we're trying to put numbers in place as a goal, I think they should try to maximize as many as possible. And so I trust that the Carolina Small Business has been doing this work for the last 5 years, and they'll continue to do this work to make sure that they're reaching as many as possible. And I do not want to see this delayed at all. That's all.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Good to see you, Kevin, and good to see you, Ed. I appreciate the spirit of Councilmember Riss' question, but I think Councilmember Freeman has hit the nail on the head. Our goal was to mitigate and harm and staunch the bleeding, however much it was that occurred because of COVID. This was a reaction. This wasn't something we proactively kind of cooked up to some identified goal, hard number, let's do this. This was aimed at wherever harm was, doing as much as we can with as much as we had, whatever the numbers were. There are small businesses in our city that are still reeling from the impacts of COVID, and this was our good faith effort to respond to it. I think, and I understand Councilmember Riss' question, but this particular program, I think Councilmember Freeman has framed it appropriately the way we should view this. This is an ongoing reaction, and the final numbers may not. Whoever needs help, that's who we're trying to help. Who meets the qualifications, who meets the requirements. To I think in one paragraph on the first page of the memo, it talks about jobs retained. That's a hard number. And businesses served. I don't know how many jobs we need to retain because of COVID, because we're still measuring the impacts, and the impacts are still being felt. But I think that this is a good response. We need to put real money behind it, and the ultimate. I don't. Setting goals, we may undersell ourselves. The ultimate impact, the ultimate outcome, I think, is yet to be told. But this is something we definitely still need to be doing, and I think we need to be doing it as expeditiously as possible, to Councilmember Freeman's point as well. But I appreciate Councilmember Riss' questions. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And I think I sort of get the spirit of where you're headed with it. And I think once we sort of get things built back up, we're going to be able to make a really big statement of what is the state of small business in Durham. That's going to allow us to have that goal of a statement. And it's going to be this program as well as multiple that allow us to get there. I am looking forward to that. I feel, at least that's what I hear you're asking for now. And I think that it's going to be supported by a lot of foundational work. I remember when this program first came about, I was one of those small businesses that was like on the brink of closure. And while I didn't participate in this one specifically, I just really, I love the partnership with OEWD, the city, and Small Business Loan Fund, which is now the Small Business Development Fund.
Carolina Small Business Development Fund.
Carolina Small Business Development Fund. Just like, HARP is a very innovative policy. This was an innovative policy that allowed us to reach small businesses in Durham where they are, which was not the case. We were relying on the federal government that chose Shake Shack over Chicken Hut. And also, the commercial banks that were just out of reach for some of us small business owners to being able to come down to our level. So these relationships have been great, greatly supportive. So thank you for the work you all are doing. Councilmember Briss, did you want to say anything else in addition to this?
Yeah, if I could just respond. Yeah, no, I know this work precedes me on council. Appreciate the work coming out of COVID. And this is in no way, I've known Mr. Dick for a long time. There's no way about trust. It's about strategic management, right? To me, setting goals, aggressive goals, is not about playing like gotcha. Oh, you didn't reach the goals. It's sort of being clear. What are we trying to achieve? This is important work for our city. one of our goals that I feel the most strongly about is our goal of shared prosperity, and this is all about that. So it's more about setting aggressive goals and being clear what we're trying to achieve and then seeing if we reach those, but like being clear about that. So that's the point I want to raise here.
And I could have been clearer before, Mr. Mayor, not to prolong, but I think that the grant portion is tangible. There's an allotted amount, there's 50 businesses, that's tangible. Lending's a little bit different because it really does depend upon how the value of guarantees that are needed. If loans, we're doing loans between 25 and 75,000. So if we get all applicants, this is unlikely, but if we got all applicants who were below 40, if they were between 25 and 40,000, those are lower loan amounts, lower guarantee amounts, more loans. But if we get all loans that are at 75,000, that's going to lessen the number. So it's less predictable and it's harder to predict and to even set a definitive goal with lending, because it really just depends on what applicants are coming in asking for and what they qualify for and what the city will sign up for in terms of guarantees. It's just, I'm sorry, I can't give you a more definitive answer, but with lending, it's just a little bit less tangible.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate Councilmember Riss, your questions. What I want to make sure that I preface is that we are in a very trying time, and we want to be careful what we identify, and making it very clear that when you set goals, you set targets on people's backs as well. So just being careful.
Thank you. The 1.7, because this was all the stuff that was bundled in with like the Duke money initially. That was the grant portion because,
Well,
right? And we
yes.
couldn't do that because we weren't allowed to. We were preempted, right? So I'm just trying to remember. There was a number of years ago, so just trying to figure out what was what.
You're spot on. Phase one was a $2.8 million fund, $1 million from Duke, $1 million from the city, and $830,000 from Durham County.
Okay, so when I see this 1.7, that's just that has nothing to do with the grant side of it. That's just I'm just looking at the memo and it's like, okay, 69 Durham small businesses and resulting in over 89 jobs created. What out of that, what was the Duke, like who funded what, right? I think that's where, I agree with everyone's saying good things. And I think, and this is just in general observation on our memos, it would be really great, this kind of goes back to what I'm saying. People want to be able to see, and council wants to be able to see, this is public money, what is the impact and the outcome? So that we can consistently tie it back to, yes, we used X amount of public dollars, this was the impact. It's incredible that 69 small businesses resulting in over 89 jobs created. Like, that's great impact, but I would love to see what were the city dollars there, right?
Sure.
So that's one observation. And then secondly, and just because I might have missed this, and I remember that y'all worked really diligently with,
I'm sorry.
it's okay, I hear all the,
No. And I didn't author the memo, but Ed, you can confirm this. So the loan fund was 1.8 altogether. So the 1.75, is that of the loans or of grants too? Right. So that if that all came from the loan portion, that's all public money.
okay, so the 1.7 million that I'm seeing on page 1, that was all the loan, which is either city or county?
Correct.
Okay, so that answers one part of my question. In the future, and I think this is something that I've asked for, map that out for us as council, right? So I want to be able to tell people like, oh, and I know it was 5 years ago, right? But 5 years ago, we did this thing. Here's the multiplying effect of your $1 million. Thank you, Durham residents, for your tax dollars, right? So that's just one thing, because we know that we're not going to extinguish this fund. We want to move forward. Secondly, and I remembered you all worked really diligently to have that component for Latino businesses. And I'm seeing that in the memo as well. I can't remember, that just says LP next to it. What does that stand for?
Latino program.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay, I just wanted to make sure. And so that part is going to continue. is what it seems like.
Correct.
What would be also helpful is moving forward, I would like to actually see a breakdown of what businesses were Latino-owned, what businesses were from different communities, right? Because I think that that's also helpful as far as goals is, are we setting up the right programs to meet the right discrete populations that we're trying to reach?
Yes, those dashboards will be available.
Okay,
Sure.
thank you. And on that note, because we're seeing a lot of immigrant-owned businesses, period, in this moment, really get hammered, I would love to see what we're going to do, because I love that it, Latino, of course, I'm like, yay, go. But I know that there are a lot of immigrant-owned businesses that are not Latino-owned that are hurting, and so would love to know what is the potential plan around that. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you all. We're good? All right, thank you. Are we good over here? Good, thank you. Was that the last one? 17 or 21? Item number 21, Councilmember Rist.
Good morning, Sean Egan, Director of Transportation. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of council. Happy to answer any questions that you have about this
Great
item.
to see you. And thanks for bringing this item forward about our Go Durham Access Services. I know I've heard a lot about this going back a couple of years about the level of service. I know you talked in here in the memo about improvements in sort of timing, on times, so forth. I'm just curious, I know there were a bunch of folks who I think were applied for this contract, and you mentioned that there was a selection committee, and I'm just wondering, does that selection committee, did that include users of the Go Durham services, or was it only a staff thing?
Yeah, so it includes users as well as peer agencies from elsewhere in North Carolina. So we wanted to make sure that we had that customer perspective as part of this work. So we did a lot of work with our advisory group to bring forward recommendations, and we really focused as we developed the criteria for how we would score the proposals. We focused those on the areas where we had heard from our riders and our panel what were the most significant areas, things like on-time performance for drop-offs, on-time performance for pickups, being able to have more flexibility in scheduling a transportation network company trip as opposed to a trip on one of our larger bus vehicles. So those areas that were part of that were critical to the development of the scoring, and the recommended contractor had the highest scores.
Great, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you so much. At this time, I think we have a presentation, item number 8. And just real quick, as you're coming up, there were some signups for the presentations for tonight. I just want to say that the items for tonight you see them on the agenda today, so that we can have them within our process. So we're actually going to address these presentations on the zoning cases at tonight's meeting. We usually address those at the actual general business meeting. But I did see speakers signed up. And you should also have some communications coming to you, speakers, directly from the Chief of Staff. Just informing you that we're going to address these tonight at tonight's meeting. All right, thank you. It's on you. Welcome. Yeah,
But I am going to turn it on. Thank you. So this is a very late presentation. I usually do this in the spring, but better late than never. This is about the Upper Neuse River Basin Association and their budget for FY26, which we are currently in. So I started out with these pictures, and I have an assignment for you. I want you to look at these pictures and think about, from your perspective, which one or ones are the worst. And I'm going to just leave it that qualitative. Which ones are the worst? while I tell you about why there is an Upper Neuse River Basin Association effort around Falls Lake. Falls Lake is currently impaired for chlorophyll A, which is a measure of algae. And the state's response to this has been to develop rules. These rules were adopted and put into place in 2011. So we have been implementing those rules for 14 years now. We are the Falls Lake Watershed Association. All of our local governments are the only ones who have successfully implemented nutrient management strategies. Everywhere else in the state, either the General Assembly, you told me not to touch that. Either the General Assembly has rolled something back or something else has happened and the rules haven't been enacted yet. So in the Falls Lake watershed, however, the rules have been enacted and they've been largely successful. The nutrient levels have dropped significantly since 2011. The problems with chlorophyll A, which is a measurement of algae, is that it reduces oxygen in the water, which can lead to fish kills. It can lead to smelly water as well. When there's no oxygen in the water, it tends to smell pretty bad. If there are harmful algae growing, then that could be a problem for drinking water treatment, for people who might want to swim in the lake, who, I don't know about you, but water gets in my mouth when I'm swimming. That wouldn't be water I'd want to get in my mouth. We've also had in the past reports of dogs who have drunk water from various lakes in the Piedmont who then have died within about 2 days. So harmful algae are a real thing. This is not Toledo. We haven't had any of those kinds of problems where we had to shut down water supply, and we probably never will, but those algae are present here. So I'm not going to ask you to give me your votes for which one of these pictures is the worst. I'm just going to tell you what I see, and I know my eyes are different. In picture number A, you see really green water, right? There's a lot of algae growing in there, and there's probably a bunch that's attached to that boat ramp underneath that's also making it very green. While that picture is not from Falls Lake, I have seen Falls Lake look like that. Pictures B as in boy and F as in Frank are from the same reservoir, which is in Chatham County, I believe. So some of these are from personal picture stashes and they're not all recent. But F alarmed me when I saw it, because you see these little patches of kind of faded green kind of floating in the water, as well as the water just being green, as well as there being a scum on the surface. So all of that tells me that something bad is probably growing. It's probably a type of algae that can produce toxins. But again, this was in Chatham County. B is from the same lake, same reservoir, but at a different point in the lake where stuff has been pushed up to the side, mostly from wind, because wind can move this stuff around. C and E are both Falls Lake, so I kind of cheated. And you see a scum on E. So scums are not really that often seen in Falls Lake, and when we do see them, because that is one of our pictures from the city, we go and investigate them. Sometimes when you see a scum, especially if you see it in the spring, it's pollen. It looks the same. So you actually have to get up close and personal with it to see if it's something else.
Can you just say what a scum is real quick?
Scum. So anything that is floating on top of the water that is not obviously a big plant, a macroscopic plant. So algae are microscopic plants, but not a big plant. So not like a rose bush floating on top of the water, something very small that would cause a scum. And then D is actually from Orange County, so very close by. That was an algal bloom that ended up in the newspaper, and I wanted a picture of it. So again, city people went out and took a picture of it because I need to be able to tell people what to look for and what not to look for. So this one, the health department had already issued a warning about having dogs drink that water. And again, visually, when I look at that versus A, because they're both really green, right? But there's kind of this opacity to number D. that would tell me that it's probably bad stuff, and it was bad stuff. So that's just a little bit of an education that sometimes when you look at it, like yeah, there's a lot of algae, but there's nothing that really makes me concerned there. F makes me very concerned. D makes me want to follow up. So if you see any of that in the city, please call us. Just a reminder of who's a member of the UNRPA. All of these local governments are members. The only local government in the watershed that's not a member right now is the city of Roxborough. So one of the things that getting to the nutrient management strategy, which is the focus of the UNRPA right now, we are spending all of our time talking about the existing rules and what kind of things we want changed in the rules. So the existing rules are listed on the left, and the things that are in red are one of the big changes that we're proposing. We're proposing collapsing agriculture, existing development, and state and federal lands into just one big category, existing managed lands. That's because a lot of what was required in those is overlap. It's because a lot of what is in those different silos really stayed in a silo and didn't offer a lot of opportunity to work across those boundaries. So we were trying to take those boundaries away in a very obvious way by putting them all in the same rule setting. All of the rest of the rules are going to stay their own rules, or at least that's what's been proposed. And Falls Lake is currently stable. Like I said before, nutrient loads into the lake have decreased since 2011. Chlorophyll A levels haven't really changed that much since the drought in 2007. Sorry, we still have good fishing. We haven't had significant algal toxins. It doesn't mean we haven't had any, but there haven't been significant. And if we move to stage 2, because we are currently implementing stage 1, if we move to stage 2, then that price tag goes into the B with billion-dollar range to try to fix things. So we're trying to find something, and if we move to stage 2, there are parts of it that we actually can't implement. There isn't the technology available to implement that yet. So we're trying to fix stage 2 at this point. UNRPA priorities, you've seen these before. The only thing that I wanted to mention on this one was bullet number 2. One of the things that we've had happen mostly in the board of directors meetings with the UNRPA, which Councilmember Rist is our current director, Councilmember Caballero is a previous director, is that we would see that the goalposts would change. The state would change the goalpost every 2 years, which was extremely frustrating for all of us. So that is a conversation that we're having pretty heavily with the state right now. Hopefully we'll get it so that those goals don't move so often. Okay, you've seen all of this before as well. Bullet number 1, the investment-based option, which was put into place for existing development. So the city of Durham that was developed prior to the Falls Lake rules is existing development. That investment-based option is so popular, not just here, but all across the state and across different sectors now. So different source categories, as in new development, wastewater, and DOT, want in on this investment-based option. So there's a lot of conversation about it from the UNRPA's perspective. Nobody has a problem with them having investment-based options. It's a good way to meet goals. We're still talking about that with the state, and there's still some concern about kind of who has to do what, and if new development invests, does existing managed lands get credit? So kind of making sure that the credit goes where the credit's supposed to go. Yes, sir.
So I want to dig into that just a little bit. So when you're talking about new development, you are talking about development as we usually, but on these lands. All right, I'll ask more questions in a bit. I'm going to ask for some clarity on some things.
I am here at your disposal.
Can you just explain a little bit more about that first bullet?
The first bullet, okay. So I will talk about new development since you brought that one up. So new development has been interested in getting an investment-based option because some of the stormwater requirements that they have to do on-site are really difficult to implement or impossible to implement if the site is relatively small. So new development has been interested in having an investment-based option where they can put money into a bank, for a lack of a better word, where somebody else can do a stormwater project somewhere else in the watershed, and then they would not have to do all the requirements that they are currently required to do on their site. So that is one example of how investment-based options would work. For wastewater, it's a little different. So wastewater is probably the most controlled thing in the watershed in terms of nutrient loads because it's coming out of a plant and we have full control over the plant. But there are times when the wastewater, and I'll get to this a little bit more, where the wastewater needs also additional allocation in their case, or additional pounds. So they may want to also invest in the watershed so they can get more pounds. DOT is under a really difficult situation because they are only responsible for those lands that are immediately adjacent to their roads. So DOT's land, it's not an easement, but their land around the roads is the only place that they can put a stormwater control measure. And you know as well as I do, I could be standing on 147 now, and that's the end. That wall is the end of their land. What kind of stormwater control measure can they do in that space, even with piping? So they are also interested in doing investment-based options so that somebody can do a stormwater project elsewhere in the watershed and kind of make up for the fact that they can't do it on their own site. So that's kind of how the investment-based options would work. And I'm talking about them at a pretty high level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it just is extremely interesting, and I'm thinking about, so with this now, what happens 50 years from now, and what are the implications of this? And it just gives me a lot of anxiety based on what we're dealing with now, and then looking at all of the reports of the repeal of EPA regulations by this administration, and then it's like we tend to fight each other at the local level based on what the federal and state governments are forcing on us. Mm-hmm. And that's now how do we explain it? Because at the end of this, I'm going to ask you for a state of the lakes in our community so I can better communicate this to residents. But no, it's just giving me a little anxiety as I'm trying to follow through. And I asked Councilmember, I said, am I hearing what I'm hearing right now?
You're hearing it. And Councilmember Caballero and Rist have heard much more. You have a question?
I was just going to ask if, I guess, how would you assess the number or the dollar amount essentially for the investment option? Like, is that been decided or is that in conversation?
In conversation.
Okay.
In heated conversation,
I can imagine.
I would say.
I can imagine there's some heavy lobbying, but I will say that I think this approach is much more germane to water, because water doesn't care whether it's a developed site or undeveloped site. It's going to run, and so this creates a pool so that you can address it where it needs to be addressed. And so I think to your point, yeah, it does concern me as well with the rollback that we're not taking that into account, that we're actually just thinking about how we need to address our water and keep those algae blooms out of it, and and make it safe so that dogs can actually lick the water. Yeah, okay.
Thanks, Ms. Woolfolk. I just want to say it's such a pleasure working with you, staff, and all the folks in UNRPA. There's so much intense work that goes on around the science here and the quality of the water and all the studies. It's amazing stuff. So I want to thank you for that. I wonder if you would just go back, because I know this issue of like stage 1 and stage 2 is pretty important to us, right? So when the Falls Lake rules were put into place, there was a stage 1 reductions in nitrogen and phosphorus, right? And now we're sort of looking at potentially the stage 2 reductions. And could you talk about, just to clarify for folks, the issue about reductions in nutrients versus like investment-based? Because the investment-based approach is kind of an alternative to like a strict number, right, on like the nutrient measurements.
I think she was going forward in that.
Because that's really what we're approaching or like preferring the investment-based approach, because the in stage 2, the actual hard numbers of reductions are, as you said in one of your slides, unachievable for existing development.
So I'm gonna pick on wastewater again because that's what I'm closest to other than stormwater. So for wastewater, if they were to go to the current rules for stage 2, they would have to implement a completely different technology for treating their wastewater. It's very expensive initially, and it's much more expensive to continue to maintain that type of treatment. And it is incredibly energy intensive, so it would go counter to sustainability goals that council has. There are lots of reasons why we would not want to do it. And there's still a cap on how much nutrients can actually be discharged into the creek that goes into the lake. So that's one of the things that we're trying not to do because all of the local governments recognize that going to this new treatment system, this new process, is not only initially more expensive, over time more expensive, but also is very counter to sustainability goals, which this council has been very vocal about, but believe it or not, most of the members of the UNRPA have those same goals. So that's one example about why stage 2 is problematic. I don't think that that is an issue right now with the state. I think we have fully convinced the state that that's a bad idea. And we're trying to figure out what to do instead. So, yeah. Does that answer your question? Kind of, yes.
I have a follow-up question. With the investment-based option, are there models out there that we can look at whether, like, how successful or not?
Not many.
Okay. And I don't mean just in North Carolina. I know in North
Yeah.
Carolina, the reason
Nationally.
we're in this, right, I mean, this is a model in good collaborative governance, right, that many other communities have not figured out. So I know that our UNRBA, I mean, that's what we're trying to do in Jordan Lake, is stand up a similar thing in the southern part of our watershed. And so I know that it's a great model for here, but just curious if you'd seen something in other
Not
parts of the
many.
country.
I've heard about one other location that's tried an investment-based type of approach. It is not set up the same way that the UNRBA set theirs up. And in terms of the amount of investment, that has been successful, but I haven't seen the reports on how water quality is doing.
Thank you so much. Good to see you. This is a real question, by the way. Is this
They're all real questions.
I get it. Anyway, the investment-based options for new development, wastewater, and NCDOT how is this dissimilar from a developer making a contribution to the Affordable Housing Fund or the Education Fund or a public school fund 1 and 2? This still wouldn't be compulsory, right? It would be an option. In other words, if we can't quid pro quo, okay, you can't do it here, but you have to give this amount. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, that's my question. Thank you.
Just going to say to the question about the investment-based approach, the flip side is using the strict measuring the sort of like nutrients in the lake, right? I think we know that we've reduced nitrogen and phosphorus dramatically, as you said on one of your slides, but it's not clear that that's necessarily directly correlated to chlorophyll A, right? And that part of the challenge that we could reduce even further, but it's not clear that the main thing we're trying to solve for is chlorophyll A to prevent algal blooms, but it's not clear that it's even reducing it is associated with chlorophyll A, right?
That's true, and that's a perfect segue to the first bullet on this slide. So challenges that we're facing. The first one is that we do not want to rely on pounds of nitrogen and phosphorus. One, the accounting for pounds of nitrogen and phosphorus is really difficult and has a lot of hand waving over it. So we don't really know how well we're doing unless we have a project that we're measuring. And two, for some of the source categories, the need and the availability of pounds are very much not connected. So the need might be 1,000, but the availability is 5. And there's no way to get more than maybe 10. So we've got to disconnect at least some of these methods away from pounds. It's not going to work everywhere. Wastewater will still have pounds because that's what their permits have always had. New development will still have pounds because we're not currently proposing to change those goals. But for existing managed lands, which is now going to be agriculture, existing development, and state and federal lands, all of those, we're trying to get away from pounds. That is an ongoing conversation. It is sometimes going well and sometimes not. But the UNRBA is very much about getting rid of pounds for that agriculture, existing development, state and federal lands. In part because even though we have reduced nutrient levels pretty substantially since 2011, we still see blooms out there. So we only are controlling one piece of what the algae need to go crazy and grow like crazy, whichever kind it is. So there's also that part of it, and it makes the UNRBA members feel quite comfortable in asking for what we're asking for. The second big challenge is the future of wastewater discharges from the three major plants. The three major plants are the City of Durham, where we are, and FY26 is significant. We also don't have monitoring going on. So that would have, if we were doing that, that would bump it up a little bit more. And that is the end of my presentation. I wanted to get back to your question about what's the state of lakes around Durham. And I'm going to expand it a little bit to around. So this is Falls Lake as well. And this is Falls Lake on a good day, okay? So all of those pictures that I showed at the beginning, those are intermittent. They're almost always in the summer. And then you have days like this, where the lake is absolutely gorgeous. And I wish I could go out and spend more time on the lake. So don't think that things are in really, really bad shape, because they're not. Jordan Lake is in a similar situation. There are bad days, and there are sections of Jordan Lake that's bad. There are sections that are good. It's seasonal, and there are sections of Jordan Lake, as with Falls Lake, that are always good. They never have any problems. From a nutrient standpoint, there's a lot of other stuff that can be happening in these lakes. But from a nutrient standpoint, they're really doing pretty good. We have in the city lots of ponds. They're everywhere. Everybody likes water. Everybody likes looking at water. So there are ponds everywhere. There are also stormwater ponds everywhere. Some years, those ponds, they just look kind of grungy from sediment. They just look brown. Some years, they have pretty significant algae in them as well. So we have a couple of different ways that we'll deal with that. So the ponds that are in the city, especially the ones that are stormwater control measures, those are there to improve water quality before the water gets out into our streams and gets to the lake. So those shouldn't be looking great. Their job is to clean stuff up. But the algae is still an issue, because sometimes that algae gets out of those ponds and gets into our creeks. So that's my convoluted but high-level answer to your question.
Thank you. I have another question. In regards to funding, all of the support and resources around this entire body of water, obviously the tax bases are different. The contributions are going to be relative, I suppose. We are the largest member, so we'll have the largest share.
We're second largest.
Raleigh pays more.
Raleigh.
Oh,
Raleigh pays more.
yeah, they're part of UN. I'm thinking about the Jordan One Lake, Jordan
One Water, yeah.
One Water. But how, I guess what I'm trying to foresee is, resources have to support this, and also the political dynamics. I'm just trying to foresee, what challenges we're going to have. There are some people that just don't believe in climate change, and that has a cost. There are some folks that don't believe that, what we're dealing with our water here, it's not going to, it'll be fine, and that's scary to me. And I'm afraid that, we may take it more serious than others. And I'm just wondering, I guess this is rhetorical, but just how do we mitigate that in moving forward? And then if we are putting more emphasis on, a dollar figure regarding investment-based options, I like the idea of having a pool that we can pull from and placing it where it needs to be. But are we, there's a risk there, basically is what I'm saying. There's a risk of, it's not finite, and then we're saying, all right, we have enough money to put a little investment here, and what is the cost or value of that damage that would be done, because we had enough money, which is not much, but to put
Recording stopped.
An investment elsewhere. So I'm looking at the pros and cons of all of this, and when we are dealing with, a government that moves the goalpost so much, and we have real issues, PFAS and other matters, they don't really care what political party it is. They don't really care what, political dynamics are. These things are real, and I guess I'm just worried about our exposure in the future. So I don't really have much of a question, just kind of stating those concerns. And lastly, I don't know what this looks like. You don't want me giving an example, but how do we communicate, when the lakes are in good shape and when they're not? Do we have an app that would be geographically supported to where if I'm in this part of Jordan Lake, then it's code red. If I'm in this part, it's code green. I think I just named a patent out loud. But, you know, just based on your location, how do you know whether the water is good quality or not in that area of the lake and what lake you're at, you know? So these are just things that are swimming around in my mind. I really appreciate the high level but very serious presentation here. And Councilmember Rist, I think the two boards that I ask you to serve on, they may not be the sexiest, but they are really, really, really important. Really important. So thank you for your work in representing the city of Durham on those. Thank you, colleagues.
I will comment on just two of those things that you said. Firstly, about the long game. So the long game is that we are going to be in a region, Durham in particular, on the ridgeline of between Jordan Lake and Falls Lake. We're always going to be constrained by what's happening in those lakes. So fortunately, Durham has 2 wastewater plants, so we can move things back and forth. That we are the only local government in this watershed that can do that. So we're in a little bit better situation than, say, South Granville Water and Sewer, who can't do that. But that's something that we're really gonna, the city, not me, really is gonna need to pay attention to over the years. I think that once we get this new set of rules in place, they should probably hold for about 20 years. And then some new people will be working on this problem again. It's not gonna go away. And then the second thing that I wanted to address was you said, how do we let our residents know about what's going on in lakes and what they should be looking for? We actually had an intern this summer. I think her last day is this Friday. And she ran a series of things on Instagram on what to look for with nutrient problems and why nutrients are, you know, excessive nutrients are not good. And there's some pictures in there. So we have been trying to educate our residents. We also talked to the EAB about this semi-regularly, not every year. So we are trying to educate our residents on this stuff. And social media, I think, is probably the best way.
Thank you for that. Councilmember.
Thank you. I appreciate the mayor's commentary. And I would add to that that there's a specific nuance when you add in that this is specific to the nutrients and not sediment or PFAS. And so I did want to just, I'm trying not to take us down a rabbit hole, but I do want to point out. So for, just in general, when you say the water is good, is it good for swimming, drinking, fishing? Like, what do you mean by good?
I mean that the water right now is supporting all of its uses.
Okay.
It
And
is,
those
uses are fishing, those use includes suitable for drinking water supply. This lake is also for swimming. It's classified for swimming. So all of those uses are currently propagation of aquatic life. I don't know why I forgot that. That is also a use. So if stuff isn't living in the lake anymore, even if it's pretty, even if it doesn't make you sick, then we've lost a use because nothing's living in it. So those are the kinds of things that both the documentation that the Corps of Engineers had to write to make the dam that made Falls Lake, that's part of the water quality standards that the state has. Those uses are embedded in multiple rules. So we're always evaluating those.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Wow. Water is a big deal. All right. Well, thank you so much. Our colleagues, are there any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you. And I'll make sure I reshare some of those Instagram posts just for public consumption. Yep.
Actually, one other comment. I will say that, you know, this will go on our consent agenda, I guess. But, you know, I would say that the investment we're making of $162,000 plus from the city of Durham and UNRPA is a really efficient investment. We're buying participation from how many jurisdictions? Like 16 or something in the UNRPA. So it's a collaborative team effort. We're making the second largest investment, but this is a very efficient investment we're making. So it's important work, and thank you.
Regionalism is key. Regionalism is key. All right. And this is separately, but I will say that the mayors on the I-85 corridor we're all forming a coalition as well. Well, not a coalition, but an alliance to also at our level address just how we're approaching these things through better communication between Durham and the towns in Warren County, where it goes all the way up to Car Lake and Falls Lake, just so we can have that better coordination as well. And there is some communication with Triangle mayors as well, so that I know we have our Central Ponds and other regions like Go Triangle, but there isn't much opportunity for mayors to have the informal conversations as we support approaching these regional issues, from transit to housing to water management and quality. So just putting out there for you to know that we're starting those alliances as well. Thank you. All right, colleagues, that is our agenda, I believe. Those are all pulled items, right? Yeah, and our presentation. And presentation, all of your notepad.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, colleagues. I did not raise it during my announcements, but I do want to put on the radar. Mr. Mayor and colleagues, intend on asking for consent for staff at some point in the future. I won't ask for a date certain now, but to consider the possibility of the city of Durham housing a rethought, a reimagined, and deployment of violence interrupters in our city. We know that Bull City United no longer exists. It was housed in the county. This city of Durham gave significant financial support to the expansion of that footprint. I think it is an absolutely key tool in our toolbox, because right now we don't have any other than the Bull City Future Fund. Key tool in our toolbox to combating violence. It is a proven model that's being deployed in cities, right? Many of the cities we like to quote as conversation partners have it, including Baltimore. So I'd like to just put on record that I would like, with staff's help, to explore the possibility, if not goading the county to reimagine and reintroduce it, then the possibility of violence interruption in the city of Durham being brought back under the aegis in support of the city of Durham.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, I also was going to bring that up as well. There's had 2 interviews with Cities United and Youth Advocate Partners, and crime is currently down 26%. I think we can get it to 50% as a goal, and look forward to continuing to work together on what all of that looks like.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem and Mayor, I just wanted to acknowledge that there have been ongoing conversations between county staff and city staff, given the county's prior role in overseeing violence interruption and also their ongoing housing of the My Brother's Keeper program. Our staff in the Community Safety Department have been in conversations with Director Crystal Harris and Joanne Pierce. And I do believe there are some foundational level conversations going on about what comes next. That Manager Hager and myself have also had some conversations around that. So I think your interest is timely, and I think we would be happy to support any conversations that the County Commission and the City Council would like to have along those lines.
I would definitely like to echo that point, and then also just add in that Haiti Reborn Justice Movement should be included in that as well. I think their peer-to-peer resource support has been really helpful, just in light of losing such a big heavyweight in East Durham and Dennis Garrett. I'm concerned, and so I do think that what we put in place will be very impactful.
Mr. Manager, if I might ask a follow-up question without, no pressure whatsoever, is it your sense, or is it a fair reading of what you just said, that the county is at least interested in continuing its, having the pole position or seat one in it. If that's a fair, is that your sense?
I'm comfortable saying that the county sees themselves as critical partners in the work. As to, I wouldn't go as far as to say that we have discussed specific new initiatives and specifically who would lead those new initiatives, but I'm very comfortable that Manager Hager has indicated and her staff has indicated that they believe their role in violence intervention as a topic is a key role that they remain committed to.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Is this a topic that should go to a subsequent joint city-county meeting? So I know we're meeting next week, so not for next time, but for the one after, and go ahead and get it on the agenda. Mayor Pro Tem, would you feel comfortable with that? I don't want to.
No, I appreciate, I would feel comfortable, but if the staff is, if you're having ongoing conversations, I don't want you to feel that. If there's a process ongoing, I want to respect that process. Would that be too soon to put it on our agenda?
Not from our perspective. I think staff would welcome the opportunity to hear from the elected officials about where you are on that. And it would certainly give us guidance and direction as we build out any proposals or suggestions.
Then I'd like to thank you, Councilman Caballero. I'd like that placed on the agenda.
Mayor Pro Tem, since we're meeting next week, will you be there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I can make sure to put it on the agenda, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for that. I believe that's our agenda. Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. To settle the agenda, I have the following. On consent for this evening's meeting would be items 1 and 2, items 4 through 19, and items 21 through 24. On the general business agenda would be item 3. On the general business agenda, public hearings would be items 25 through 29, and item 20 has been referred back to staff.
Thank you. And regarding that item number 3, Madam Clerk, I think we have to reopen our votes, but there's a shift. That Councilmember Baker, you want to explain what we're trying to do there?
Yeah, regarding the Recreation Advisory Commission appointments, it's broken down into 2 different categories. There's an at-large category, and then there's the persons with disabilities category. There are 3 appointments to be made for that at-large category, 1 appointment for the persons with disabilities. I would like to reappoint Dale McKeel for that position. I think he's been doing a really wonderful job. The other applicant is Gregory Williams, who I would also like to appoint. So I would like to move Gregory Williams over to the at-large category so that we can include him as one of our 3 appointments.
So there'll not be 5 candidates for 3 seats, is that correct? Okay. And will we get a separate email that gives, will we vote then, or how are we going to do that?
We can redo the ballot.
Yeah, that'll be the easiest if you can redo the ballot.
We'll redo it and then open the voting for you tonight.
So
Extend the voting till, let's say, 7:30 tonight.
Okay. Yep. So just make sure we check our emails. All right. Thank you all so much. We've settled the agenda. Entertain a.
So moved.
Thank you. It's been moved and properly seconded.
Are we going to the chamber now?
We are going to the chamber now for the training of all the new technology. So it's been. So let's say 12:30 in the chamber, and I'll see you all there. It's been moved and properly seconded. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right. We are adjourned. Thank you. Chambers at 12:30.